The other day, I had snuck into a hotel to work as a janitor, pretend to work as a janitor, because they were holding a convention for a bunch of witches. And these witches had a potion that could turn children into mice. It just so happened that very same day, this wasn't planned, Todd Howard was at the hotel because he was busy selling Skyrim. And he just happened to be there to sell Skyrim. And he was at his table and he's saying, "Come on over, everybody. I'm doing autographs. If you buy a copy of Skyrim, I'll give you an autograph." So everybody's going up there, and one kid says, "Hey, Todd, I'll drink this and I'll give you $1." And he throws it at Todd. And so Todd looks at it and says, "Oh, it's a nice green potion." And he daintily sips it down, and he gets this weird look on his face. And Todd says, "Oh, I feel kind of weird. I feel kind of I feel like a McNugget right now. I feel like eating a McNugget. Oof. Oh, 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 oh. And then he says, "Oh, please give me McNuggets. Give me McNuggets." And everybody's looking around saying, "Does anybody have a McNugget for Todd? He's sick. There's something wrong with him. And only McNuggets can cure him." And he gets up and he starts doing weird moves, and he gets on the floor and he starts breakdancing, or I thought he was breakdancing. He starts spinning in circles and smoke is coming off of him. And it looked like he was getting smaller. I thought it was an optical illusion. He really was getting smaller. And eventually there was just his clothes on the floor. We're all looking around, and then we hear a coming out of the clothes, and a tiny little mouse comes out. It runs up my leg and up to my shirt, and is hanging on there, and say, "Oh, hello." And the mouse says, "Squeak, squeak, 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 squeak." And I said, "Oh, you're Todd Howard. That's right. I just watched you turn into a mouse. If this was a crappy kids movie, I would have seen you do that. I would have seen you vanish, and the fact that you vanished would not matter to me at all. And then a mouse came out, and I would think, oh, you just disappear, because that's just what happens in my daily life. People just vanish in front of me." And I say, "What do you need, Todd?" And then Todd says, "Squeak, squeak, squeak, squeak. Squeak, squeak, squeak." He just starts talking and saying it. I said, "Oh, you don't want to be a mouse anymore? Well, that's obvious." And I say, "Hey, wait a second. You just drank that potion. I know exactly what to do." So I marched right on over to the Witches 1990 convention. And I bust in and I say, "All right, witches." And they'll look at me and say, "What do you want, Mr. Catman?" I say, "Well, I got Todd Howard here. Your potion turned him into a mouse." And all the witches laugh and they say, "Ha, ha. No, it didn't. It can only turn children into mice." And I look at Todd, and I look at the witches, and I look at Todd again, and I said, "Todd, that's right. Their potion you're not a child. And I know for a fact their potion can only turn children into mice." And I said, "Wait a second. What if Todd is a child at heart?" And they all said, "Nope, it has to be a real child." And I said, "Todd, what's going on here?" And Todd starts going, "Squeak, squeak, 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 squeak." And he jumps off of me and runs through all the feet of the witches, and they're all going, "Ooh, ooh, ooh," even though they were turning children into witches. So I guess I don't know why they were so scared of the mouse. And it runs underneath the door. And I lumber on over there. I open up the door, and there's Todd, totally nude, because remember, he left his clothes back at the Skyrim booth. And I said, "Todd, what's going on?" And Todd looks at me and says, "Mr. Catman, I wanted to be a mouse because I was going to sell more copies of Skyrim." I said, "Oh, okay." And I close the door and I look at all the witches and I say, "He's dead. It's all your fault. Come on and get him, everybody." And everybody from outside comes running in, and they beat all the witches up. And they say, you killed Todd Howard. We can't buy Skyrim anymore." And then all the witches went to jail. And because they were with cops, well, they never made it to the jail. Well, because you know what happens when cops are around. Anyway, long story short, Todd was faking it, like he said. And then the whole thing kind of just petered out at the end. But Todd's okay. The witches are gone. Eat McNuggets.